You are officially looking at a girl who has quit her 9-to-5 corporate job to become a full-time influencer, and that means we have a lot to talk about. Welcome back to my little corner of girl world where I give you debrief after debrief after debrief on everything and anything that has happened in my life to hopefully help you if you're going through the same thing, but really I'm just a girl that loves to yap. In this video, I'm gonna break down all of the things I considered when deciding to quit my corporate job to pursue self-employment content creation, because as a risk-averse overthinker, a lot of thought went into it. Now let me give you a little backstory in case you aren't familiar with my lore. Essentially, I've been working a corporate job in the social media marketing department at Lululemon for the past 6 years. 4 of those years, I've been also a full-time content creator, with 3 of those 4 years being years that I actually got income from being a content creator. And yes, both of these things were social media. One was marketing for a brand, one was marketing for myself and my personal brand. So it was a lot of complementary work. And I do feel like each of my jobs kind of helped me with the other. Now, I was part of the 2020 TikTok boom influencer era where everything basically changed overnight. I hit 100K followers pretty quick after I started consistently posting, and now I've grown that channel to around 700K. On the Lululemon side, I had gone all the way from a coordinator position up to a manager position, which I want to do a whole breakdown on my corporate experience, my job experience, the roles I had, and the salary I was paid for each role. That will be a separate video, but make sure you comment down below if that's actually something you'd be interested in, because I'm not trying to make videos that nobody wants to watch. Anyways, one of the most common questions I got was, when are you going to quit your job to become a full-time content creator? And honestly, for a long time, full-time content was not something I wanted to do, or at least I had convinced myself it wasn't something I wanted to do. Like I said, I'm very risk averse, so thinking about quitting my stable corporate job that gave me benefits and stock options and retirement savings and benefits, it just didn't seem smart or realistic to throw that all away for something more unstable and more unknown. I'm also very much so a maximizer when it comes to career, success, money. So in my mind, I was like, why not do both and make double the income and be stable and secure? I think it was around my 2nd year of being a content creator that the burnout really kicked in. I was like, holy shit, doing both of these things, because I was self-managing myself as a content creator, was a lot. And I was also in the period at Lululemon where I was like really hustling to make a name for myself. You know the vibes. Again, I can make a whole separate video about experiencing work burnout, because that honestly affected my life for like 2 years. But then I got an influencer manager, and she really took on all of the admin, the contracting, all of that kind of stuff. And honestly, she made me more money. And I was having the conversations that I needed to have at work in order to limit the amount of burnout I was feeling. And so it felt really feasible for me to have these 2 jobs. But honestly, all of the logistics aside, I feel like the reason I didn't want to become a full-time influencer is because I had a lot of internalized shame around the idea of branding myself as an influencer. I hate to keep saying this, but I could make an entire other video around these feelings. But long story short, because influencing is a relatively new industry, and let's be real, it's not really respected as a real job, I was under the impression that I needed to keep a corporate job in order to feel a sense of self-worth. Now, even though I've quit my job, it's still something that I'm definitely thinking about and really cognizant of, and trying to rework the wiring of my brain to not think of those things anymore. And I'll get to this later, but my support system is just so great at affirming that this is the right decision and that it doesn't negatively affect my self-worth or my discipline or my hard work. If anything, it reinforces that. So I definitely have them to thank in pushing away that little voice in my head. Now you're all caught up with the backstory. Let's get into every single thing I considered in order to make the decision to leave my corporate job for content creation. Now there's 4 different themes that I want to touch on here. Obviously, number 1 is finances. Number 2 is like career growth and like backup plan. Number 3 is logistics. So make sure you have your pen and paper out, because it's a good checklist if you are also thinking of leaving your job. And number 4 is support system and the conversations I needed to have in order to feel good about leaving. So let's talk about finances first. Before I get into this, all of this is a reflection of what would make me personally feel comfortable, but everyone has a different level of buffer that they want. Everyone has a certain threshold of how much they want saved or how much would make them feel comfortable leaving a secure situation. I again err on the side of risk averse, over prepared, worst case scenario, we have a lot of different options before we even get there vibes. So for me personally, I wanted to make sure sure I had at least 2 to 3 years of stable income coming from my content creation. And then within the income I was making, I had a number for the average income over the last 3 years, what that average number needed to be in order for me to feel comfortable not having the security blanket of my 9-to-5 salary. It's not enough just to look at the salary you're making at your corporate job and the salary that you're making from content creation. You have to think about all the things that a corporate job can offer you and what you equate that to be financially in order to determine what that number has to be from a self-employment perspective. So for example, obviously your corporate job pays you your salary, but they also contribute to your pension plan, your retirement savings, your benefits, your vacation time, sick days. All of those things should equal some sort of monetary value that you should consider when thinking about your holistic salary from self-employment, because none of that is going to be coming from elsewhere. You're going to have to cough that up yourself. On the flip side, I think it is also important to put a price on your mental health and the lifestyle that you want to live. Because although influencing doesn't give me health benefits, it does give me mental health benefits and a lot more time to do the things that I actually want to do. And I don't think that equates to $0 because time is money. From looking at this, you can put a number in place. Do you want to make double the amount that you make at your salary job? Do you want to make triple, 2.5, 1.5? That is up to you and the numbers in which are in your court. And then the last piece within finance was making sure that I had enough savings to act as a buffer, knowing that content creation income is very unstable. For me, I was thinking about the salary I would pay myself, and I wanted to have more than that salary put away in my savings so that even if I made $0 for the entire year, I would still be okay. 1 year is a pretty big buffer, but that's what I needed to feel okay. Now, one other thing I kind of considered that will bridge me into my next section was that knowing I had made money for around 3 years doing content creation, I was kind of feeling like I was getting to a cap of how much I could earn from doing content. And I had always said to myself, if doing both jobs is going to limit the amount that I could do with one of them, that is when I would consider letting go of the other. And so when I felt like I was approaching the ceiling for content creation, that's when I really started thinking, okay, maybe I need to leave Lululemon so that I can put all of my hours into content and really see if there's more potential here. Obviously, there's no way of knowing if there is and if you're letting go of something that actually gives you the max, but I felt like I needed to see it through in order to know for sure. But knowing there was uncertainty, I made sure that the career journey that I had at my 9-to-5 was in the best place possible so that if I had to fall back to going back to the corporate world, I would be set up in the best way possible. Which brings me to topic number 2, career. Think about getting a corporate job or honestly any job. What are the most important factors? Typically, it's your experience in your resume and your references. So those were the 3 career areas that I really wanted to maximize before leaving my corporate job. What that looked like for me was getting to a manager title and holding a manager title for at least 1 full year. Knowing that it holds more universal value than a lower title or a title that's a little bit more niche and not universally recognized. Number 2 was making sure I had a really good relationship with the company and my direct manager, and honestly, his manager, the manager above that. I feel like I had built really good rapport with leaders across the company, with my direct manager, with my coworkers, with the company. I feel like I have put 6 years of really hard work, of really good relationships that I feel confident that even if I don't go back to Lululemon, I have people in my corner who can really support me with connecting me elsewhere. And number 3, this is kind of more specific to me, but obviously I am leaving social media to pursue more social media. So I'm not super worried about having a resume gap because I'm technically still doing things within my field. Now, topic 3 is logistics. These are all things you should probably write down if you are thinking about leaving your job, because there is a right time and a right way to do it. First things first, if you get an annual bonus from your job, do not quit before you get that paid out. Don't quit in the middle of the year when you've already worked half the year and you won't see half that bonus because it's not prorated. The best time to quit, and the time that they're probably expecting you to quit, is right when your bonus hits your bank account. Now make sure it's actually in your bank account, okay? Because if you're giving notice before the money hits your account, the money's not yours and they're entitled to keep it and not give it to you. When I tell you I wrote down the date in which I knew the bonus was gonna be paid out, opened my eyes that morning, checked my bank account, saw the money was in it, and then immediately told my boss I was quitting, that's just the way it has to go. I highly recommend, personally. Obviously, you're getting the money that you deserve and you worked hard for, but also you're not working too far into the next calendar year whereby you think, oh man, it would be nice to get my bonus. Like, no. From there, it's time to build a budget. You need to really understand how much money is coming out every month and how much money will come in. For me, I really need the structure of getting the exact same amount every single paycheck because my brain does not work when I'm getting like random payments and shit like that. Like, I need to control the amount that's coming in and then funnel the exact same amount to myself as if I was working a corporate job. So what I did is I literally wrote down an Excel spreadsheet. It included all of my monthly expenses, my mortgage, my strata, my property tax, gas, groceries, how much I would probably spend on leisurely activities like going out, my hot yoga membership, my personal training. All of those things go into your budget, and then you can see how much is left over from how much you're paying yourself, and then whatever's left over is how much you have left to save. The timing actually kind of worked out between the bonuses and the expenses because my mortgage actually renewed this year, so I had to wait to see what my new mortgage payment would be. I had to wait to see what my annual strata fee was going to be because those things kind of change throughout the year. So make sure you're getting the most up-to-date amounts instead of using like previous years or averages, because that's obviously what's going to give you the most accurate picture. Now, in that Excel spreadsheet and that budgeting exercise, I actually did a comparison of how much I was making and saving from having both jobs and how much I would be making and saving from just having content creation. And I actually shared that full view with my partner, which brings me into my fourth and last bucket, which is all around support system / impact on the people around you. For me, that's obviously primarily my partner. We are building a life together. No, we are not married. So again, a lot of these decisions are mine and my own, but I'm also cognizant that these things do affect him and that I would want him to have these conversations with me if he was making a big life change. So what I did is I literally sat my boyfriend down and I said, this is how much I was making before. And trust me, talking about money is a little bit uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie, but it needs to be done. And if you can't have uncomfortable conversations with your partner, you probably shouldn't be with them. I gave him every last dollar so that he could really see what the impact was of deciding to change my life, change my lifestyle, all of these things. Obviously, he sat there and was like, absolutely do it. So proud of you. Amazing. He had no questions whatsoever, but it was just kind of something I really needed to do to feel super secure. Knowing that he had all of the information and still supported me and still saw the vision, that's exactly what I needed mentally, and also something I would have wanted him to do for me as well. This isn't a mandatory, but I also have the most incredible friends ever who also were supporting me. My family also was supporting me. It took a little while for them to get there, and I'm not gonna say that they were 100% on board, but ultimately the vibe that they were giving me was, you got this, you're doing well, you're not stupid, you'll figure it out. And that was enough for me. While you're talking to your partner, I think it's also really important, and something that me and my boyfriend did, was sit down and really dissect and think about what the new dynamic would be and the lifestyle would be now that I wasn't working a corporate job. Me and my boyfriend lived together, so we were talking about things like me being home all the time, although I did kind of work from home very often before anyway. Knowing that he was going out, working, coming home, and I was kind of isolating in the house, what did we need from each other in order to not overwhelm each other, in order to be able to decompress and still have time to ourselves? If I was gonna be home all the time, how was he gonna get alone time in the apartment? Where would he have to go? What would he have to ask me for? And then obviously, because my income is changing, how are we making sure that we're adjusting accordingly? Are we going out less? Are we eating in more? Are we traveling differently? All of those things are important conversations to have so that you feel on the same page with your partner before you make a big life change, not after or during. If you've made it to the end of this video, kudos to you and kudos to me, because I'm sweating and my throat hurts from talking so much. But I think that accurately gave you a picture of every single last thought and every single consideration that I recommend anyone think about if they are making a change to their life, especially as it relates to leaving a 9-to-5 corporate job, stable job. If you also quit your corporate job or you're deciding to do so, please leave anything I may have missed in the comments down below so we can share the wealth of knowledge. And please let me know if you have any other questions relating to corporate jobs, content creation, social media, self-employment, any of those things, and I will be sure to answer them. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope it helped, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye.